Leonardo da Vinci was a wonderful artist and the last of the great true Renaissance men who could do a little bit of everything. Music, art, athleticism, invention, and science. He did it all. He even designed flying machines and submarines before anyone else even began to dream of it, before the technology was even capable of producing it. He thought of it, and in very, very advanced ways. That's why I respect him so much as an inventor. Even though he couldn't create it, he could draw it on paper in ways that were so accurate that now we are stunned by the accuracy of his concept of rear rotors and double helix blades for helicopters. It's just ridiculous. And before we get into everything about him today, I'm going to go ahead and disclaim why he helped the Nazis. He didn't actually help the Nazis so much as they discovered some of his writings and some of his works and were able to put them into design. That's why they were so dangerous. That's why the Germans happened to develop the U-boat before anyone else, because they happened to have seen and been in possession of some of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings. But today, we're going to go through sort of the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. This was a gift given to me by my best friend for my birthday. It's a pop-up book of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings and inventions, and it may be a bit childish, but it's fantastic. So here are Inventions by Leonardo da Vinci, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because that would take forever, but you can even see this little... All these are drawings by Leonardo da Vinci that have been brought to life in pop-up book form. So right here, let me adjust this so you can actually see the whole majesty. This is Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine. And if you pull these right here, the whole thing actually flaps. Now this is actually a design that he came up with. He had the flying machine, which ranged from planes to helicopters that he even tried developing, with rear rotors and double helix propellers, which were really advanced concepts for the time, and unfortunately they just didn't have the materials to produce it at the time. But he was extremely advanced and extremely accurate for how impactful and practical most of his designs could be. This doesn't have to be one of them, but it's the more fun version to include in the pop-up book. Next on the list is his hydraulic powered boat, and you can see here that as it would drive, I can't really do it in any way but that, you can see its rotors turning. It would use the power of the river to drive itself forward, and if you look over here at this corner, as it would go, it would turn these little scoops here, and you see this fish, this hook right here would come by this fish, hook it up, and boom, drop it down into the boat, which would allow, just by driving down the river, going through the river's water, would force the boat to pick up fish and to throw it in the back. It's so elegantly simple, it's beautiful. He was also an amazing architect, and this is something that's actually very common for lots of inventors and something that I'm into myself. Amazing fronts, support structures, all the beams, everything comes together in a beautifully orchestrated combination of both engineering and art. This is one of his war machines. This, I'm going to have to go in for a side view actually, but this was a sort of car that he could drive. You see the wheels here, and it would move along, and these are cannons that they'd be able to stay very, very highly protected, but shoot in a perfect circle almost. You can see those cannons go all the way around, and it'd be able to drive and shoot everyone at the same time. This is something that Da Vinci was specifically very focused on, was his war machines, because his country was in a time of war. It was part of his livelihood to make these things so that he could actually make money, but it was also his duty to his country. But he did things that were a little bit more impressive. He made mechanical men, and he made lots of mechanical different beings. He was rumored to have made birds that could fly. Don't know if that's true or not. Probably not, since he couldn't make, humans fly. But he was very gifted with mechanical things. He made mechanical men, like I said, which is actually on the next page, so we're going to go ahead and go to that. All sorts of sprockets inside of him. It was supposed to not only represent the Petruvian man, which is the perfect artistic and scientific ratios between all the body parts, which he actually built, not only drew, but he built it into the mechanical man, and the mechanical man had all sorts of joints, I don't know if you can see that, all sorts of joints and pulleys that allowed him to move like a man would, and it was very elegant for him. Leonardo da Vinci was very skilled in many different areas, and that's why we call him the Renaissance man. And in fact, that's why we call Renaissance men, is because Leonardo da Vinci was such a great example of everything a man could be, all compacted into one. It makes me, even though he may not have donated quite as much to science as, say, Edison or Tesla had, or even the Wright brothers, but his absolute amazingness as a human being made him great, and that's why he made the list today. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and make sure to check us out on Kickstarter. Also, make sure to like and share this video, because the greatest compliment you can give us, other than getting a pair of our awesome Tesseract Dice from us, is by liking and sharing us with a friend or a family member, and by subscribing to the channel. And make sure to check us out tomorrow. We're going to talk about the next great on the list, Alexander Graham Bell. See you guys then.